I'm Jordan.
I'm Carla.
And I'm Bethany, and welcome to Art TV. We're here live in Savannah, Georgia, where a mysterious black hole opened up and brought back 3 famous artists from the past. Not every day something like that happens, but you can bet Art TV will be there to get in on the action. Am I right, girls?
These artists are now cluelessly wandering around town, so today, on this special episode of Art TV, we will be searching for these men of the past to interview them and learn from their artistic lives. Who better to learn from than the artists themselves?
Word just in, news sources say that the 3 men are Edward Weston, a still life photographer, Edward Hopper, an American realist painter, and Alphonse Mucha, a Czech political painter.
Well, dang, I was hoping we would get Michelangelo, but they will have to do. The 3 of us will be scavenging around town, searching for these men. I wonder where they'll be.
We will be splitting up to locations that seem familiar to our artists, in hopes that by instinct they will have wandered over there.
I will be looking for Alphonse Mucha. Mucha draws upon his upbringing, the Slavic history, and his unique art style to compose the Slav epic series. He inserts symbolism of tradition and crucial key figures of the past to vocalize the importance of culture and community that the Slavic people share to the world. While he personally did not associate with any particular art movement, art critics usually associate him with the Art Nouveau movement, or within this series, the Symbolism movement.
I will be looking for Edward Hopper, who was an American realist painter. The painters of this movement wanted to bring the everyday world onto the canvases, but Hopper had his own unique spin on this. Instead of showing beauty in the details of life like a lot of his fellow artists did, he decided to show beauty in the simplicity of life. In all of his paintings, especially Nighthawks, an image that is now known as an American icon, he used design and lighting to give a narrative to these simple scenes.
And I'm on the lookout for Edward Weston, a 20th century modernist photographer. His use of close-up, detailed shots of his subjects shed new light on how photography could be used to create images that are both representations of a subject as well as abstractions of life.
So please enjoy this exciting new segment of Art TV that we like to call Where'd They Go?
You know we're not looking for Van Gogh, right?
Yeah, but it was a nice pun.
I don't know. It seems pretty sketchy to me.
Oh my god. Let's just be honest. Okay. Awesome. Alright guys, so Alphonse Mucha has just been located and we are on site at a local Savannah studio. So we're going to go meet him within moments. However, before we go do that, let me give you a few facts about Alphonse Mucha himself and his history before he became such a well-known artist. For those of you who don't know, Alphonse Mucha didn't start out as a 2D artist. Rather, instead, when he was a young boy, he was a choir boy for the local chapel. And whenever he was there, he was surrounded by beautiful artwork within the cathedrals and chapels of Prague. That's when he fell in love with the 2D artwork and decided to pursue it as a career. Once in Paris, he became a set painter for the local theater. However, that did not stop him there. Soon, Mucha became a freelance artist for a magazine, and it was then when he was given his big break from a last-minute commission of Sarah Bernard, the most famous actress in Paris at that time. Let's go meet Mucha. Mr. Mucha! May we ask you a few questions?
What are you doing here? What are you doing in my store? I've already been interrogated.
Oh, no. We're not here to interrogate you. We know the Nazis invaded Prague in 1939 and that you got pneumonia because of that. But that's not the point. We're here about you, about your artwork. This is the Oath of Almeida, right?
Ladida. How do you know that? Are you from the future?
Well, you're in the future right now, but that's not the point. It's about you. We know you're all about symbolism, so tell us about this piece.
So, this will be part of my greatest collection, what will eventually become my greatest masterpiece, the Slav epic.
You won't be known for that, but continue.
Okay, anyways, this right here is the oath of Omladina, as you already had guessed. It is representation of the Omladina organization, which is a political organization in Czechoslovakia for the advancement and enrichment of our culture, of our people, the Slavic people.
I know about that party. Didn't they assassinate like 400 people?
That is not what this piece is about. This piece is about the kinship of Slavic people. It is about our culture. It is about bringing communities together. Please do not insult my work like that.
Thanks for the clarification. Let's talk about the other figures in this piece. How about the one in the center? And the tree?
Savannah just said that, and thank you for asking. The one I'm working right now here is Slavia, the representation of Slavic people. She's also known as a goddess amongst us.
Ah, interesting. Doesn't her name mean both glory and word? The Slavic people were known for their poems and songs. Isn't there an epic that inspired some of the pieces, like and the symbolism?
Slavidesa, yes. It's an allegorical epic, to be precise, as you'd say. Most of the pieces in what will be my collection have mythological aspects about our culture, about the Slavic people.
Interesting. That must mean the people around the Omladina party must be historical representations of your people.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the size of the painting. It's huge. Why would you decide to do this? It's 14 by 20 feet. What was the purpose? Also, it's an egg tempera, an extremely hard medium that dries insanely fast.
Yes, the egg tempera technique is art, and this is representational of the Slav people, their hardships, their struggles. Also, the size of the piece is symbolic as well. It represents the colossalness of the pan-Slavic movement. It must be seen as such.
Okay, sure. But some more critics think that you were just trying to compete with your fellow Czech artists, like Bartonek, Alice, Jansa, or Mazak.
To make these paintings any smaller would be impossible. The whole point of it would be absolutely lost. It must be either big or not come to be at all. It must not, and it must not look like a book illustration. If there are going to be difficulties, that would be the end. Excuse me. But let Alice, Johnson, Bartonek, and Masek do their artwork. I do my artwork for importance, not competition.
Fair enough, fair enough. So if you were always so gung-ho for the social movement, most of history knows you for your illustrative work of women and flowers you did during the Art Nouveau movement.
When I was a young man, I was invested in my nationalism. But unfortunately, as time went by and I moved to France for my commercial work, my nationalistic flame vanished for some time. But after I was commissioned by the Austrian government, the flame of nationalism from my youth flared. Excuse me. And so began my journey to the Slav epic. I apologize.
Are you alright?
Yes, I apologize.
Well, it's kind of ironic that the Austrian government is what inspired you, considering that they were the ones who oppressed the Slavic people for so many generations.
I apologize. But yes, you could say that. But do you have any other questions for me other than that?
Not particularly. Did you know that you will never finish this painting?
What?
What?
What do you mean?
Alright, well, that's all we have, so gotta go. Bye!
Hello, as I said before, I'm looking for Edward Weston. He was born on March 24th, 1886 and died on January 1st, 1958. He's an American realist photographer who takes pictures of still lifes, portraits, landscapes, and sometimes even the nude human form. Hailed by many as one of the great masters of photography, Edward Weston went to the Illinois College of Photography, where they offered a 9-month course on the subject. However, Weston completed the course in only 6 months, but they refused to give him his diploma unless he paid for the full 9 months. So, Weston struck out on his own and decided to start a career that would last for 40 years. But sadly, in 1945, he began to develop Parkinson's disease, which would later take his life on New Year's Day, 1958. So, if you've ever Googled Edward Weston, you might find his unique food imagery right on the first page. Yes, that's right. Edward Weston is known for his unique food compositions, but especially his stark images of peppers. One of his most stunning masterpieces is that of pepper number 30. And so, to find Weston, we are here at a grocery store, hopefully able to find him. Maybe Weston will be in there looking for new subjects to photograph. Come on! There he is, let's go. Edward Weston.
Yes?
You're the photographer who takes pictures of random objects and naked women, correct?
Why?
Here for an interview.
Okay.
Well, you did die with $300 in your bank account, so...
Beg your pardon?
Sure, yeah, we'll pay. All right, so I think we found a better place to interview. Edward Weston, please tell us how you got into photography.
Well, my mother died when I was 5, and my father remarried and spent all of his time with my stepmother, leaving me alone. But he did give me a camera when I was 16, so I love that camera.
Interesting. Please tell us what inspires you in your photography. What gives you your drive?
I take inspiration from the world around me, my trips to Mexico and California, everyday objects, and women.
Okay. Please tell us about one of your most famous pieces out there, Pepper number 30. So tell us about the meaning of this piece.
No, there's no meaning. It's just a pepper. Why can't anyone accept that?
Okay. So there's no metaphors, no cultural context, nothing?
No, nothing. My work showcases natural beauty, the quintessence of nature in its purest form. It's not tainted by societal influences. Have you seen my work? Observe their natural compositions.
I see a lot of landscapes and peppers in your work, but I also see that you like studying the nude female form. Would you say that these photographs also have no meaning, or are they part of a different series of your work?
No. I transform the female figure into something abstract, something that can stand on its own.
Okay. Based on our research, we noticed quite a trend. Many of these women you photographed, you went on to take them as lovers. Care to comment?
Are you interested?
So, what then is your definition of photography?
Well, I believe photography is not just a copy of the outside world. It's something innovative, explorative, maybe even abstract.
When did these ideals become clear to you, and were there others that agreed with you?
At the beginning of my career, I met a man named Alfred Stieglitz. His journal Camera Work was like reading my own thoughts published. I knew I had to meet him. And it changed my life forever.
I see. And what is it you find so interesting about peppers?
Well, I enjoy their fine lines and elegant curves. No two peppers are the same. Each is unique and forms its own unique composition, unlike other inferior fruits and vegetables.
Sounds pretty meaningful to me.
Yes. Wait, no!
And how did you go about capturing it?
Well, I shot it with a 21mm lens with an exposure time of 6 hours. I placed the pepper inside of a tin funnel to cast light on important angles and to highlight the contrast between the texture of the pepper's smooth skin and the roughness of the funnel.
Okay, so out of the 37 pepper images, what would you say is so special about pepper number 30?
This pepper was simply the best, the most riveting. With its lack of subject matter and psychological meaning, it takes you out of the subconscious world as we know it.
Interesting. And you've talked a lot about your work not having any meaning. Would you say there are other artists that you identify with?
Well, Georgia O'Keeffe comes to mind. That poor woman. She painted all these beautiful paintings of flowers, and all anyone ever saw were vaginas and genitalia. I can only sympathize.
I see. Well, I mean, pepper number 30 does kind of remind me of sex, so it's...
What? No! You and your metaphors.
Edward, where are you going? Edward, come back, Edward.
Because of his famous painting Nighthawks that has been referenced in TV shows and also in movies. Edward Hopper was born in 1882 in a small town near New York City. He went to school for illustration and was under the instruction of the prestigious Robert Henry, who was a realism teacher that taught about the everyday American life. Hopper would paint places that aren't your typical idea of beauty. Hopper would paint places such as city lofts, houses on a hill, shipyards, and gas stations on a highway. He didn't sell many artworks until his wife, Josephine Hopper, got him a sold-out solo show. And from there, Hopper would be known as one of the most influential American realists of our time. Let's go! Edward Hopper! The artist of the Nighthawks? I can't believe it's you! Can we do a quick interview?
Wow. This is a lot of attention. Sure, I'd be happy to do an interview. Just let me finish my book and my coffee, and then we can chat some.
We can wait with you right here if you want.
No, I don't mind being alone. Thank you.
Are you sure?
Yes, well, being alone is quite an inspiration for my work. Don't mind.
We'll be waiting outside then.
I wasn't sure why they wanted to interview me, but I felt honored that they would ask me. It's a strange phenomenon to be pointed out in a crowd, but I guess that's life in the limelight.
I don't have time for this. Are you done? Can we start? Now, you mentioned that loneliness is a big inspiration in your artwork. Care to elaborate?
Why, yes, actually. If you take a look at my work, you'll notice that the figure and the space that they are in play an equal role in the composition. My goal is for the space to provide the figure with a narrative. I usually don't include a lot of people in my works. You'll notice that they all have a theme of reflection and isolation.
Interesting. And are your paintings of real places?
Not all of them, but I would say they're all based on real places. They're all scenes from the imagination. They're single pages from various stories in which the context is up to you. Is the character good or bad? Or did they just fall in love? Are they about to go on a journey? And you don't know from the outside, which is really what makes you focus on the inner life of the world around you.
Wow, it looks like you create all these characters and the worlds they live in.
Yes, sometimes my wife and I even, we name these characters and we give them personalities. You see, my wife, she used to be an actress and she's an artist herself too, so she understands the creative process quite well.
Now, I've read that your wife plays a big part on your artistic career.
Yes, my sweet Jo. Without her, I don't think I would have achieved my first sold-out exhibition in 1927. She travels everywhere with me, and she even keeps detailed notes of all my works, and I mean, she even helps me title some of my pieces, so she's great.
Is it true that she was the only model you used for women? And was that a deliberate and artistic choice of yours?
Well, it was our choice. Yes, even though I was the one who painted, I often think of my work as a collaboration. Well, we never had kids, but she would often go so far as to say that our paintings were our children.
Wow, it's no wonder you guys stayed together your whole life. You know, after you passed away in 1967, your wife couldn't bear another year. Some say that she just couldn't live without you.
We did stay together my whole life. But wait, what did you say? When did I die?
Was I not supposed to say that? Is this gonna cause some paradox or?
I couldn't believe I just learned of my fate. Time now passes by with urgency, each moment a jolting tick in my life's countdown. And yet, the great mystery of my future has now been brought to light. And
What are you doing?
yes, I was just reflecting. Is this interview almost over, or?
Almost. So, Nighthawks. Tell me about it. It is your most famous painting after all.
It is? Yes. Yeah, it's another piece from my imagination, but like all my other work, I care more about how the work feels than what it represents.
Yes, it has almost become an icon for the American pop culture. Many TV shows and movies reference Nighthawks when the plot calls for like a movie scene. Slight changes in the subject matter don't take away that emotion from your piece.
Yes, it's ultimately about how the painting feels. Like, yes, it's a diner with some people in it. That's what it is. But what it's really about is the loneliness, the emotion. And that emotion is created by various elements. It's created by the dark, moody streets. It's created by the stark fluorescent lighting.
Speaking of fluorescent lights, was it uncommon to paint artificial light as opposed to natural light?
Yes, most realist painters were interested in painting grand, idealized landscapes, natural subjects. Those were fine, but I was more interested in the design that the city and architecture had to offer. The city looked beautiful by day, draped in sunlight, but by night, fluorescent light was a part of the city's atmosphere. I was showing life as it was.
It looks like you enjoy placing emphasis on light and design by using big blocks of color and creating wide open compositions. Is this your style, and do you use it to create emotion?
Well, I'm intrigued with the shapes that light and shadow can make, but I think when you have these vast spaces where light can fall in interesting designs, it emphasizes how empty the space is. And an empty space can visually help the viewer to reflect upon the work. When there are more people in a crowd, it's hard to see these light patterns. And, light and shapes have that way of showing interest in the inner life of a person. As I looked over yonder, I could see picturesque compositions everywhere. I looked in the beautiful, average simplicities of life, that side of building, the corner of that street. It all had so much potential and...
Hello? Mr. Hopper? Edwin? Eddie? Are you thinking to yourself again? Okay. Well, I think that's all we're gonna get out of Mr. Hopper tonight. So, thank you all so much for joining us tonight.
Hello, and welcome back to Art TV's Where'd They Go? All three missing artists were found, and we got to learn so much from them.
Alphonse Mucha, Edward Weston, and Edward Hopper are three unique artists that each made a separate impact on the world of art and culture. They were just some of the many artists that helped advance the modern art movement as a whole. Hopefully, they can find their way back home.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed.
Bye!